Hello, everyone. Welcome to chapter 198 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition, and we are just a stone's throw away from the 200th video. In fact, next week at this time, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be shooting that video. But today, I've got another, I think, a fairly neat project that we're going to do together. And if you like your meat tender, stay tuned. Well, yes, it is the weekend edition. And yeah, it's Saturday morning, and I'm a little behind the eight ball with this stuff, but I've been doing more and more of the milling and preparing stock for my students so that they can just cut boards and make things so that they get their projects done, because it is important to me that they get their projects done. Anyway, that's taking some time, but that's only another couple of weeks, and then we're done. So, um, yeah, we're, like I say, a little later than I'd like to be. You'll notice the hat is back. The boss figures that the sound is much better, especially when I'm turning my head. Yeah, I hope some of you suggest something else that I can do, because I am so much not a hat person. But anyway, for the sacrifice of quality YouTube video, I'll wear a hat for now anyway. So yeah, today's project. Well, I've had it. It's been a slow evolving idea that I'd like to make some things for my kids, like my daughter and her husband and my son. And they, like I said, the my son and son-in-law both really like the barbecue. They've got the smokers. They're set up to do this. They know what they're doing. Uh, I've just never gotten into it, but they have. And I thought, well, what could I maybe make them? So I showed you this barbecue kind of spatula kind of thing. Uh, Not sure how it's going to work. I've never seen one like it, but then I don't go around looking for stuff like this either. So I was hoping to make them three or four tools that they could use at their barbecue. So I thought, well, okay, I kind of like turning mallets. So today's project, we're going to do this meat tenderizer. And this is not hard to do. The handle I turned pretty much exactly like the other one. And that's going to be a theme in this set. They're all going to have that style of handle. And I really like the feel of it. I know I've said that like 1,000 times in the last video where I turned this guy. But that's going to be our project today. And this was the prototype I did. And I needed to use the router table to do it, but I'll explain that as I go through it. Um, this did not take long to make. I think even with setting everything up and hunting down drill bits and everything, I probably spent hour and a half to 2 hours yesterday evening doing the prototype. So this isn't rocket science. It's really easy to do. But anyway, I think these two together, that's a nice start. I am going to make, I think, a frying pan spatula. Don't know if I'll show you that. But I was in Canadian Tire yesterday looking for a $10 gift for a family thing we do. And I noticed that they had wooden barbecue scrapers, like grill scrapers. And I thought, and they were ugly. Like, oh my goodness, those things were ugly. And I thought, well, I could do the same thing and put a nice handle on it, and then they'd have a scraper as well. So I don't know. There might be a four-piece set when I'm done. So that's kind of where we're going to go today. And today we're going to work on this guy. Now I'm turning everything out of our local birch here. This comes from, I believe, the Tisdale Nipawin area, this birch. We don't have all that much good. Well, I don't think we have any really big birch uh, around in my local area. A little further north, where my lumber sawmill guy works, there's some there, but the best birch in Canada or in Saskatchewan is in the northern parts, like Tisdale, Nipawin. Those areas are there's lots of good birch there. So anyway, that's what we're going to use, and we're going to use a number of tools. Again, we're going to use a router, we're going to use a drill press, we're going to use the lathe. So this is another good skill building project, and the turning is relatively simple. Like you could do this with the skew, you can do this with the roughing gouge. I use the skew on the handle because when I'm planing something or making something flat, I really like the skew. And then there's a little bit of accuracy here. There's a 1 inch hole that will drill. And I always drill the hole and do all the machining to the blank before I put it in the lathe. So I think that's going to help quite a bit. But just one point before we get started. I'm standing by my router table again because it is the only, the only clean area in the shop. It's a disaster in here. And it typically gets that way after my Wednesday kids group leaves because not that they're to blame or anything, but there's just a lot going on. You would think with 6 students, there shouldn't be that much happening, but there is. And that's why I'm standing here. I also am going to use this router today. And some of the things that I talked about the fence and the table and things that I need to deal with yet, yeah, I definitely need to deal with. So I'll show you a little bit of that. So anyway, enough of me talking. Let's get into this project. And the first step is I'm going to start working on the mallet part, and I'm going to work on the head first. The mallet part is 4.5 inches long and approximately 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. Now, when I did the prototype, I didn't bother being at the jointer. Uh, I was so anxious to get going and test everything to see how it would work. I thought, okay, I'm just going to go for it. But I think I want this perfectly square. It might work out a little better with the roughing, the tooth design that I put on it. So I'm going to take and make this square with the jointer. So yeah, this is a nice piece. This is almost quarter sawn birch, so it's off the side of the piece, and this corner looks the squarest. I may not show you doing the whole thing, but maybe just a little bit. So, and of course, we always need our trusty push sticks. And here we go. I'm just going to take one pass off of all the sides. This is square now, and I'm not going to bother showing you the rest. It's just me pushing things through the jointer. So the next phase will be on the sliding compound miter saw where we'll cut the pieces to length. I'll see you there. And we're at the sliding compound miter saw. I took the liberty of marking 4.5 inches already off camera, as well as making sure this end was square. And it looks really good. As far as the length of the head itself, that's kind of up to you. When I turn my shop hammers in here, those are all 6 inch pieces. And that would work. It's maybe be a little bit big and a little bit heavy, but maybe heavy is good. I don't know. So this is another project that you don't have to work to a script. Be creative, use your own design. But what I'm doing is I'm really relying on my wife's experience in the kitchen to build these things. Uh, Things need to be easy to clean. That's first and foremost. So that's why I'm not putting a lot of little detail on anything. It's all fairly straight, just nice arch surfaces, curves, little ball at the end, thing like that, but they can all be cleaned easy. So keep that in mind when you work with kitchen tools. And if you're not an expert in the kitchen, talk to one. Anyway, I'm going to show you a cut here. I think I'm going to make more than one blank right away, so I probably won't bore you with multiple cuts, but we'll get our cut piece for today done this way. All right, here we go. Voila, our block. Okay, so we've got a block, it's cut to length. I like to drill holes when things are square. So what I'm going to do now is find center of this and drill a 1-inch hole right through. Okay, we'll meet you at the drill press. And we're at the drill press. Man, it's amazing how fast this project can go when you don't have to spend your time running around your shop looking for things. It's just a little bit too disorderly, but that's going to change. All right, so we're at the drill press. I need to drill a 1-inch hole, and I have a 1-inch Forstner bit in this chuck. This is a cheap keyless chuck, so sometimes the bit falls out. The other thing that I like to do when I'm working with a smaller piece of wood like this, and I need to hold it, I like these parallel clamps. I just have one set of these, but I predominantly bought it to use on the drill press for holding things. But this works really, really well. Sorry, I had my back to you a little bit here. And now I have a safe way to hold this well away from the point of operation. Okay, let's do this. Oh, gotta line it up first. What was I thinking, man? There we go. Okay, just a steady rate of feed. We're not in a hurry. Clean out the hole every once in a while, because if you don't, you won't get the bit back. You'll have to take it all apart. Don't ask me how I know. It's drilling nicely. There we go. That's all the way through. Yeah, maybe that's why my shop is always messy. There's a wee little bit of tear out on the backside here, but that's going to be fine when we get it in the lathe. That's going to work out well. Okay. Well, I'm going to do the rest of them that I'm going to make, but there's no point in you having to watch that. So the next tool it will be at the router table that I worked on, the video where I worked on the fence last day. And we're going to put the pattern in the front. Okay. We'll be over there shortly. Well, we're at the router table, the one that I put the fence on last day. And you can see my problems that I talked about in the previous video. But over the plate here, we're going to be good. And we only need about 4 inches on each side. So this is going to work. The bit I've chosen for this is a Lee Valley 90-degree V-groove bit. Carbide, half-inch shaft. So a solid bit. So I think it works quite good. And I thought the end grain would cut tougher than it does, but the first one I did, it cut beautifully. So I also kind of just marked out the first line through. And my goal is to do one way and then flip it and do the other way right away. So I do the X on each end first. And then that way, with one router setup, I can do all 4 sides. So, okay. And I think for this one, I do have some other blanks made already, but we are just going to cut one. So let's see how zoomed in we are. Oh, that should be good. Okay, let's start the router here. Notice I've got my parallel clamp there. And okay. Nice cut. Well, okay. Okay. Well, the routing's done. See if I can give you a close up of that. So we're going to put a circle in there yet. So I didn't have to put pattern on the edge yet. So this is going to be enough. And the next thing it is we go into the lathe. Oh, with this piece, I haven't made a handle piece yet, but that's just an easy cut. So we'll do that, and we'll bring you back for that. Well, I just finished cutting on the bandsaw. Remember that piece that I cut for the barbecue flipper, that kind of strange piece, and I said I was going to use it for other spatulas or whatever. Well, it turns out I can get two handles out of that. So I already cut this one to length. I cut this to 14 and a half inches. That gives me about an inch, maybe a little bit more than an inch, waste at each end, and it gives me a little longer tenon that I can turn, and then I can basically put the head on to where I'd like it to be, and then I can cut the rest off. So it's easier to start with a little bit more material than too little material, because this isn't welding. You can't just make it longer. Okay, so we are off to the lathe next. And I think what I'll do is I'll turn the mallet head first, and then we'll turn the handle. And you've already seen me turn a handle like this, so we'll see how much we'll put in, just enough. Okay, see you at the lathe in a bit. Well, I don't know if you can hear it, but my sharpening grinder is winding down in the background. When you start a project on your lathe, it's really a good idea to sharpen your tools before you start. That way, you'll enjoy it more. Let's just put it that way. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the mallet first. I don't know if I have you in exactly the right position, but it's all I can do today. So, now the problem that I had to solve, and it was actually an easy solution. I didn't want to damage any of the points that I'd cut with the router. And so to drive it, my standard spur drive fits right in there on center. Where is it? Here we go. See, just like that. Sorry, my fingers are in the way here. It's a little hard, a little awkward to show. Like that. It just fits in. It's perfect. And then on the other end, I just put my cone center on. And this is my cone from the Laguna chuck, or from the Laguna tailstock assembly. That's why it's black. But to put it all in, you just do this. It's this simple. Okay, I got to move my banjo out of the way here. Oh, and that's locked. Oh, but those handles are wonderful. Okay, and then you just hit center, and this light could be out of the way. That'd help. And you just put a little bit of pressure on, because you are already half inch into the wood. I don't think there's really any danger in this coming off. So I like this. This is it doesn't damage the end. There's going to be a little point in here, just a wee little one, but nothing serious. So anyway, let's move the tool rest up. And I know I raved about these handles the last time I turned in a video, but you're gonna have to hear it again. I still love them. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to change this just a wee little bit. My routing is a wee bit different on this one. Can I? Oh, yes, I can move it over. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. That's better. Okay, so the lathe, we're just going to double check. Yeah, that's good. That's locked. All right, so where did my roughing gouge go now that everything's sharp? And we're going to turn it on. Uh, I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to show you, but I think if I can turn fairly quickly, this won't take long to do. So let's have at it. To make sure we're at a good speed, that's maybe a tad fast. I think I was burning the last thing I did. There we go. Okay, I should really have a face shield on today. I just have my safety glasses on, but it's always a good idea to have your face protected. And I'm just going downhill, starting to make that arch. Here's where watching the horizon really comes in handy. I've been doing so much turning stuff lately that people will think this is going to become a turning channel, and I really do enjoy turning. It is a lot of fun. But I'm hoping that I will be more than a turning channel. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, I'm not even round yet. Okay, we got a ways to go. But I'm getting the profile. And one of the things I teach when I'm working with my students is to get their profile early and then just work on refining it. Okay, we're getting close now. I want to make it just barely big enough. I just want the flat spots gone. I don't want to go further into it than that. Okay, and I could be doing this with the skew too. In fact, the skew would be a good choice for this. I don't think, no, we're not quite there. Okay, a little bit more. Can always go a little slower when you get down to the end here. Like I said, this is a very simple turn. But notice all the basics here. Tool is in my side. I'm moving my hips, not my hands. And that's the way. And these are really, really good skill building projects, these barbecue tools. Let's see what I have now. I am so close. And I'm sure I'll find little things that'll be different on this one than the other one, but that doesn't matter. But I'm constantly watching the horizon here to see what my shape is looking like. And you want the ends to be about the same size. So We're getting there. It's getting close. Okay, let's take a look at that. I'm still used to going for this switch. Perfect. That is exactly the shape I want. Okay, that's a really, really simple turn. So let's get the sandpaper out. We'll start with a little bit of 100. Notice I moved the tool rest out of the way. And remember, I like the sand in this part right here. So let's give this a bit of a whirl. Give it a, whoop, see, I'm on the wrong controller again. Give it a bit more speed. That's 100. And this is 180. Look at it. I think that's good. Yep, I think that's it. Well, that's really a simple turn. And there it is. Just a slight arch, very quick turn. Okay, next we'll put the handle in and we'll get that going. And I've got the handle between centers. I was so excited about finishing that other piece that I actually forgot to burn lines on it. So I decided I'm going to, it's kind of a, I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but for one of my sons, for my son, maybe it'll be 2 black lines on each end, and for my son-in-law, maybe 3 or 1 or whatever. That way they know which is theirs by how many burn lines are on the mallet part. I don't know, maybe cheesy, maybe not, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to continue on the handle now, and I'll show you some burning on the handle later. So, yeah, let's get at it. I can talk on the way here. I feel weird not having a face shield on, and I really should have one. Well, I sped up the recording to 4 times the speed just to get through this a little quicker. As I said earlier, I've already turned a handle for you, so you don't need to see that again. Just a comment on turning form here. You'll notice that I have the tool tucked nicely into my hip and hands in control. And that way, when I'm not moving my hands to turn, I'm moving my hips. You can see that right here. And that's the way you should learn to turn. You turn with your body, not with your hands. Now, the exception is when you do small details, then you move your hands. But up until that, you're turning with your hips and your body is the best. And I'm doing a little bit of layout here. I like the length of that handle in the prototype, so I decided to basically clone it, making marks on the handle and transferring them to all the way around the handle with the pencil with the lathe turned on, and that works pretty good. I think the goal with these turnings at this stage is I want to make it round, but just barely round. So I don't want to take a lot of material off, because you can always take material off, but you can't add material. So, and here I am just starting to work on the beads, working on the end of the handle first. And I'm using a spindle gouge here, which I really like the spindle gouge. But for some beads, and this would not be one of them, a spindle gouge works just fine. But for smaller, finer beads, a detail gouge would be the way to go. Notice when I'm making that bead, how when I come off the side of the bead and coming into the center of the handle, the spindle gouge is basically completely sideways, and that's really important. And unfortunately, you can't really see it when I did it. There I just measured the center, and now I'm going to make the correct diameter, give myself a measurement to shoot for. And it doesn't take very much because the handle is almost the right size, even when it's just rounded. And here I'm using the skew, again, using that handle in body technique to remove the material that I need to. Now, all I'm doing is making a gentle arch. I like flowing curves in turnings that I do, and I like the shape of this handle, also the feel of it. It feels really good. I know I've said that before, but and here I am turning left-handed a little bit, which I think if you're going to learn to turn, maybe you should practice that a little bit because it sure comes in handy. I'm definitely stronger left-hand, or pardon me, definitely stronger right-handed than left-handed, but it's getting closer. So I don't hesitate to turn left-handed now. I'm not intimidated by it, and not usually scared away of trying it. So I think I'm getting a little better, but it's an important thing to learn how to do. Now I'm going to start working on the tenon. The rest of the handle isn't that smooth yet, but it isn't that important that it's smooth right now. I'll either go back and do some finishing cuts, or we'll get the sandpaper out a little bit. But we're sizing the tenon here, and I have to be careful about that headstock end because the drive that I'm using is a standard tooth drive, and it's easy to run your edge or run your tool into one of those edges. Here I'm sizing the tenon with an adjustable wrench. I would be using just a regular wrench if I had a 1-inch wrench, but I don't. So all I did is take that adjustable and go over to the drill bit and tighten it around the drill bit, and it's a perfect size. So that's going to work out really well. Yeah, I could use a caliper, but I actually like using a wrench better for tenons that go into something. So here I am. Yeah, I decided not to do a finishing cut, so it must not have been too bad. Just went to the sandpaper. For something like this, I would normally only sand with a 100 grit to finish any shaping or ridges, or get rid of any ridges that I'd have. And then after that, I'd go to 180, and I believe that that's fine enough, especially for a barbecue tool. It's not that critical, but now the end, I didn't quite get to the end because of because of the drive. So I took it out, went over to the Dremel, and just took that little edge off so that I could test fit it in the handle. And yeah, that's basically all that I needed to do there. Now I'm just going to get ready, I think I am anyway, to, oh, we're burning. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I like to use little pieces of arborite to burn because, or plastic laminate, because they work fairly well, and they're really quite safe, I think. I just lean it on my tool rest and push it in, and it starts to smoke, and we're done. So it's really quite a neat way to put burn lines in your projects without running the risk of getting a wire tangled up in something. So not that the wire isn't safe, it can be used safely, but I think this is a little easier. So here I am finishing the end. I like to leave the centers on as long as I possibly can. So yeah, it's getting ready to come out of the lathe, and we'll move on to the next step. Well, we're at the final stage here. I did a few little things off camera that I didn't know if it paid to show you. First of all, I cut it. It's a little longer than it needs to be, but I cut the groove for the spline or for the wedge that's going to go in, and I cut off the other end. And I haven't sanded anything of like this end yet or anything, so there's still a little bit of handwork that needs to be done. But it's time now to fit the the head to the mallet. And I like to have this line being directly in line like that. And I tried to make it so the grain looks nice here. I wonder if it'll look better the other way. See, these are things you get to try at the end. Yeah, that's the way it's going to go. Okay, I am going to put a little bit of glue on here. This is going to become a little bit messy, unfortunately, and I am working over the bed of my lathe, which I am not happy about, but I didn't know where to do this, so I thought, and I have to kind of lean down to be in the picture here, so trying to show you what I want to do instead of my face. So there you go. That's some glue on there. Now I'm just going to carefully wipe this on my pants. Don't think my wife saw that. And then I'm going to carefully slide this on and kind of give it some twisting action on the way so I don't just push the glue out the bottom. And then I want to get it centered. I want that line straight. And I want it down to about, that's about as far as I can push it, which I think looks good. I should have brought a rag. I have all kinds of blue towel in this shop to clean up glue spills, and here I am wiping it on my pants. Ah, well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, I didn't glue the other one in because I wasn't sure I wanted to use it that way. I can live with that, but you know what? Maybe just a little bit further on. I don't know if I can do it with that. We'll try this. That's about where it's going to stay. But that's okay. I am quite good with that. I cut a little wedge out of walnut on the bandsaw. This is exactly 1 inch wide. Well, okay, give or take a little bit maybe. But we're going to slide it in the wedge and get it in the hole. Get rid of some of the extra glue. And then that sounds nice and solid. Okay. Oh, I hate that. Yeah, you'd think I was prepared. Oh well, that's a part of working in your shop. It's the way things happen. Okay, so I'm going to head to the bandsaw and cut this off. Not sure if I'm going to even bother showing you that, but I have a feeling when I come back and share with you again, this will be done except for finish. Okay, let's close this one off. Well, there it is. You didn't miss much at the end here. To cut and sand this, what I did is I just went to the bandsaw, and actually it's nice and stable like that, and I just cut it round, and I had minimal sanding to do, so that worked out well. I like the contrast between the end grain of the birch and the long grain. That looks really good. There it is. I think, you know, I think once we get some mineral oil on these things, it's going to look really good. So yeah, I'm quite happy with these. The only thing is I have, well, at least another pair of these to make. Plus, I think we're going to go with maybe a grill scraper and a smaller frying pan spatula, because they are really quite popular. My wife absolutely loves the ones that I've turned for her. So with that in mind, I think that brings us to the end of this video. Yeah, just remember to like, share, and subscribe. Video 200 is coming up fairly quickly. I'm hoping to have an announcement about the 1,000 subscriber giveaway by then. And more and more it looks like it's going to happen. And I just need to tell you what it is. And we'll go from there. So, yeah, those of you that are watching, commenting, subscribing, thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. the financial side isn't there yet, and that's something I'm going to talk about maybe in video 200. It'll be a little bit of a different format there. So anyway, take care, have an awesome weekend, and we will see you probably Thursday of next week. Okay, take it easy.